Ladies and gentlemen, get your shakers ready. It's martini time.
Welcome to Magic Martini Mondays.
My name is Daniel.
And I'm Belladonna.
And we are
The Shields. So this latest Penguin Magic Live lecture was absolutely amazing. Award-winning mentalists from Denver, Anthem and Aria, the psychic soulmates.
Yes.
Anthem and Aria have fast become one of my favorite duos. These psychic sweethearts are charismatic as they are knowledgeable.
Very much so. Yeah. It was a very good lecture.
It was a very good lecture. So before we get into it,
Martini.
It's martini.
That's
time.
martini.
It's martini time. It's martini
The
time.
Soultini.
The saltini?
The Soultini.
Saltini.
In honor of the psychic
The psychic soulmates.
All right, so this lecture is a long one.
It's a doozy, I'll give you that much.
5.5 hours to be exact. It's worth its weight in gold though. Anthem and Aria cover absolutely everything in depth. They discuss the importance and purpose of character, creation theory, ethics, disclaimers, how to answer and approach Q&As. They break down the methods of presentation for close-up, cabaret, corporate, stage entertainment. They touch on the importance of knowing your environment.
They touch on everything.
They really do. And it's so refreshing as well, especially like considering a lot of the Penguin Magic Live lectures, as you know, have been very card orientated,
Yep.
very coin, close-up sort of stuff. So this was very refreshing for me. I do a lot of stage parlor sort of stuff, so I'm not a mentalist per se. I have dabbled in psychic entertainment
And
in
she does
my
drive me mental.
early days. Yeah, but it was very interesting, and I feel that a lot of these methods and presentations can be used in other genres of magic, not just for psychic or mentalist magic. In this lecture, we get to see footage from their live shows. So we get to see how strong and effective these methods are and how the audience responds to it. They talk about Q&A, pre-show Q&A, cribs, sealed envelopes, and unwritten methods.
They talk about a whole lot of stuff that comes down to mentalism and presenting yourself as psychics, that sort of thing. It's very in-depth. It's about two and a bit hours worth of theory before they even get into any methods. It's really good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at least the first 40 minutes or so, there's a good chunk of the lecture where they talk about building your character. Aria specifically mentions a book called Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. She talks about how that helped her overcome her magician's guilt, which is something I personally have suffered with from time to time.
Whereas I just lie all the time, so I'm used to it.
Yes,
except I'm never.
Right. Yeah, so Anthem and Aria encourage performers to find their character, find their purpose, find out who they are, what their purpose is for being there, because your presentation is built around your character. And I think a lot of us, we focus a lot on the presentation and not so much on the character who's presenting the presentation. And yeah, once you have your character sorted, you can write your story for that character built on those effects. Around those effects, rather.
Yes. One of the points I particularly enjoyed was how to open a show. So they discussed how to script the opening of a show and gave this theory about that on how to get people engaged to start with. And it's one of those things that so many magicians discuss in so many different areas of magic, about whether you should open with a flashy trick, whether you should open with talking. And their point of view on it was very knowledgeable and very experienced. I'm not going to go into what they did say, but if you're one of those people who likes to read and discuss about how to open a show, they do have a few very good points in this.
Yeah, they do. Just pause it for 1 minute. So one of the important things, I think, like for a lot of mentalists, especially when you're doing Q&A, and this is something that Anthem and Aria do touch on, is to be careful about the way you approach Q&A, like the questions that you answer, how you answer them, the context and tone that you use when you're answering them. They go into about disclaimers, how disclaimers are basically useless because people have a preconception of what they're walking into, especially when it comes to a psychic entertainment show or a mentalist show. Doesn't matter what you say is true or isn't true. An audience member has their own set of belief systems, and if you touch them like deep enough, you touch them deep enough on a spiritual level, nothing you say will convince them that you're not fake, or you're not there for just entertainment purposes, rather. So it's very important what you say. You say everything with meaning and purpose. You don't just answer willy-nilly, because those words can be taken out of context and can have detrimental effects if taken the wrong way.
Absolutely. They do go into ethics a fair amount, because they do touch on psychic readings and their views on that sort of effect. And they don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but they do have some very strong opinions about it. And some very good opinions, and they've got some very good points. And as someone who doesn't do any sort of mentalism really, I still have people come up to me saying, you have magical powers. And I say, no, it's just a trick. And they go, no, you can trust in me. I know you have magical powers. It's okay. You can tell me. And they talk about that and how to approach it and how to circumnavigate it. And they've got some very good points.
But in saying that too, like from an audience's perspective, like take, for example, something like sideshow. Like there are certain sideshow effects that aren't real, that are, that are not real. And then there's other sideshow effects which are not particularly sideshow from a layman's, well, from a performer's perspective, but from a layman's perspective, it's still sideshow. For example, human blockhead or walking on broken glass. Those two effects are actually done in real life. There's no fake glass, there's no fake nails going into your head. But then there are other aspects of sideshow entertainment that aren't real, that are just for pure entertainment. So the lines are very blurry for a layman. So yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of done it to ourselves as a performance industry, blurring the lines between reality and performance. But yeah, I think thinking things through critically and making sure that they're being presented the way, like ethically, the way that you want them to be is very important. And I really did appreciate that segment of this lecture.
I did too. As someone who does not really like people like John Edwards, for example, these people, Aria and Anthem, they did have some very good points about how to get around this and how to present your information in a way that is going to lift people's spirits, but not necessarily give them false hope or anything like that. It was good. Yeah. I really did. I really appreciated the way they went about it.
Yeah. I did want to make one note. Just be prepared that Anthem does talk a lot about his balls in this lecture. So just brace yourself for balls, okay?
Considering like 95% of the magician audiences are men, yeah, he talks about shaving your balls and the pros and cons about shaving your balls.
Yes. Hey, a trait I'm pretty sure that Aria would appreciate. A man who manicures his areas. That's nice. That's a nice trait to have.
I can't give any preference, pros or cons, but I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who could. So talk to them. Don't ask me for my opinion because I don't care.
Okay, so impression over impressed. He talks about being the impression, leaving an impression rather than just being impressed on a magic trick.
Yeah,
with the audience. I thought that was very, very awesome.
yeah, it was a very
really
good
point.
very good message to come across. You want to leave an impression on these people rather than impress them, and I think that comes down to mentalism more so than it does to magic, because as a magician, you really do want to impress people. But when you're doing mentalism, leaving an impression is probably more important. And they do talk a lot about the Q&A effect and how they want to leave people feeling after the show, and giving them a positive message and trying to inspire people to leave feeling good. And that was really nice that they wanted to leave people with a positive message and a positive emotion at the end of it.
However, I don't think that, like, I think it might be in different genres though too, because the impression that you leave with somebody is so important. Like the feeling that somebody gets. I mean, when you create a memorable moment in magic, it's because you've created a emotional connection with somebody on an emotional level. You've recaptured some kind of feeling that they had when they were children looking at a magician, or like David Copperfield on TV, you know, that wow moment. And we were all kind of looking for that. But a wow moment that will leave a mark will be one that will be personal more than anything.
Absolutely.
So he talks about to unwritten Q&A, the use of props to draw attention. So drawing the focus with a prop like a crystal ball or tarot cards or something like that, the importance of having a prop to draw the attention of the crowd. Having a solid reading system, whether you're right or you're wrong, the hits and misses, doesn't matter how much you miss, the audience is always going to remember the hits more than the misses. So don't be afraid to
fail,
experiment and fail, and just have faith in yourself. Belief is magic.
That's what Anthem says. Yes.
Yeah, belief is magic. And I love that. I love that line. That is something I've always believed in too. Belief in magic is so important. And
you have to believe that you are magic for the audience to believe you're magic.
Which is something you've always taught me when you were teaching me how to false pass. You know?
And he uses one of the exact analogies that I use is with a coin. If you make a coin vanish slowly, you need to believe that the coin has vanished yourself for the audience to believe that the coin has vanished. And he relays that into his mentalism as well.
And I think that's something where my magician, I think this is a very strong martini, just saying, guys. Okay, so for me, my Magician's Guild has a lot to do with that. If I know that something's not where I think I'm trying to tell somebody where it is, I don't react the way that I should, but it is something that I'm trying to overcome. It's a lot easier doing my type of magic than it is doing Daniel's type of magic for me, because I can just put on a smile, put on a track and do some illusions. But for Daniel, he's his prop. So it's a little bit different. And the same with mentalists, with Aria and Anthem. They are their biggest props. They are their attention on the crowd. Is the attention on the crowd is to them. So I could understand how, having that belief would help you perform at your best. We would all do better if we learnt from that.
Absolutely. And there are some ways to get around that Magician's Guilt, and we're not going to talk on that. We're going to throw to Anthem and Aria themselves, and they're going to give you a few resources and a few of their thoughts on magic.
So to Anthem and Aria.
Hey there, folks. This is Anthem.
And it's Aria.
And we're honored to be a part of the show today and talk a little bit about some of our influences and some of our very favorite resources in magic. Before we do, we'd like to introduce ourselves. Obviously, Anthem.
Aria.
And we are the Psychic Soulmates. We perform all around the country at colleges, corporate events, cruises, museums. You know, we do everything and
Anywhere
anything.
they take us, the world takes us.
That's
where
right.
We go.
We are mind readers, or really more heart readers than anything.
Yeah.
And that's the lowdown on what we are. We are two
Yeah.
mind readers in love. We're from Denver, Colorado. We've been doing this for 7 years, and it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good time for us.
Yeah, it has.
Now, Belladonna asked that we share some of our very favorite lecturers, both individually and together. And we kind of went back and forth on this. It's kind of a challenging one,
Yeah.
because I've seen so many lectures even before we met.
Yes.
I went to every conference you can imagine.
I've seen so many.
I was Dirk Losander's student and employee, so I was at every conference selling floating tables. So I got to see some of the great lecturers of all time. Now you've only seen a few lecturers. You've gone to maybe 4, 5, 6 conventions at this
Yeah,
point.
and I've seen some like amazing like video lectures.
That's right.
So-
And that was, so we wanted to include those as well as video
Yeah.
resources. But I will start us off
Yeah, go ahead.
with
What do you think?
lectures that really, really impacted me. One of the very first lectures that really impacted me deeply was Doc Hilford's seance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
to see him do a live seance, and then he talked all about, you know, his raven slates and the wine glass on the string on the stick, that spirit bell, if you're familiar. That was really influential for me. But when I was older, because I was much younger when I saw it, when I was older, one of the best lectures I ever saw was Peter Turner live at Mindvention. Partly because I was in on it a
live.
little bit and I helped to make it happen. And also because I was already so familiar with Peter's work, that to watch him absolutely kill with it and then talk about it and talking it deeper than I had read about before, it was quite enlightening and it was quite inspiring. So
Yeah.
those are two lectures that really, really impacted me individually. How about you, Aria?
Okay, well, the first one that comes to my mind would be, I never got to see him live, unfortunately, but Eugene Berger's Penguin lecture made me really, really excited about performance and just about like what magic could be, and yeah, it impacted me really in a way that I can't explain because it was just so full of so much knowledge and wonder.
That's right. I remember going out and trying to find little robots, little
Oh my gosh,
wind-up
yeah,
toys.
I made us go to every single party store until I could find some wind-up toys.
That's right.
Because of that lecture.
If you're familiar with his lecture, you know what
Yeah,
we're talking
'cause
about.
It's just the best. Other than that, oh my gosh, I had one. Oh no, off the top of my head. I will say Sean Farquhar was an amazing
yeah.
lecturer.
At IBM?
Yeah,
Service time? Yeah.
really, really awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot think of the other person I had that I saw.
No?
No, it'll come to me.
Now, of course, we also wanted to share someone that together had a lecture that inspired us, and that was the really hard one. Because both of us come from two very interestingly different backgrounds. And so for me, I think that instead of saying about what kind of lecturer influenced us both the deepest, I thought a book would be the best alternative, because we are book readers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a bookshelf over here and a bookshelf over there and a bookshelf in the
Yeah.
house slammed
All
with
over the
books.
place.
And I've got 100,000 PDFs, right?
Of course.
So books are our top resource, and I think we can both agree, maximum entertainment.
Oh, of course. Yeah, changed my life. Gave me confidence.
Yeah.
Gave me confidence to go out there. Somebody with like zero confidence starting out on stage, like really helped me feel like, okay, this is, I can do this. These are some good steps to take. These are some things that I probably should, look at a few years from now and make sure that I'm doing these things.
Keeping up with it. That's
Yeah.
right. It's a great rereading book.
Yeah.
For me, I had already been doing a lot of professional performing by the time that I read it, and what was great was that it was affirming. And it wasn't the big picture that was so assistive to me. It was the little things, like, hey, you need to have a handkerchief, and I never
Yeah.
perform without one now.
Just little stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the little things, and a whole section on mentalism was quite enlightening. So that was a book that really, really changed both of us, and it might as well have been a lecturer that really, really affected us. With that said, is there anything else you want to add?
Okay, one more book.
Sure.
Well, not book, but like person.
Sure.
Neil Scryer.
Yes.
So creative and fun.
And easy.
And easy, simple and impactful.
Right.
Can't recommend him enough for mentalism.
All the
And
focus
bizarre
is
magicians.
all the focus is away from the magic, and it's
Yeah.
on the performance and on the message, which it wasn't. The message isn't like out there like, here's the moral of the story. No, the message is very much so a subtext message about the inner power of us all.
Yeah, it's just really fun.
That's right.
I love it.
So those are some of our greatest influences and greatest resources. Hey, folks, thank you for having us on the show. Really, really appreciate you guys, and I hope that this episode is a blast, and have a martini for us, all right?
Yeah.
Cheers, folks. This is Anthem.
And Aria.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anthem and Aria. It's been a pleasure. Now, you might have noticed when you first started watching the Martini Magic Monday episode that we had a new theme song and we have a new feel. We also have a few new little segments, one of which is where our genie will answer the question from our viewers. Psychic Daniel.
That woman Sheila. Things I shouldn't tell my wife about. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's a little taste of what you can do with the power of mentalism.
And now for our last and final segment,
The
the
Tate
Tate
take. The Tate take.
The Tate take.
I'll
Tate
take on Tate.
Take on trait.
Take.
Take. Tate.
To take.
So
So we've got Eric Tate now. So this is our segment where we criticize Eric Tate instead of. No, sorry, I don't mean criticize. Where we give fashion.
we
advice.
discuss
We discuss
philosophy of
Philosophy.
Tate. I did like his little think big magic monkey on his diary. That was cute.
I like how he can glow. He can also grow a glowing, glorious beard, of which I cannot. So I am very envious of the beard.
Yes, you can tell that he looks after his beard very well.
But he's made one of the vital mistakes that Dan Harlan has also made. Purple tie, purple shirt.
Red socks.
I mean, the socks are pretty cool. There's some funky clown socks going on. But, you know, you can't do purple on purple or matching colored tie with shirt. It's not on. You know, and this is coming from a guy who wears this. So up next week, we have Adam Wilber.
Ooh, Adam Wilber.
Really look forward to that. I do like a lot of his work.
Awesome. I'm very much looking forward to Adam Wilber's presentation and his lecture, and it shall be fabulous.
Yes, we need to get a Will Bettini going on.
Will Bettini, I'll have to work on that one. Also, if you are watching the Lockdown Lounge, join me later this week for my special guest Aria to talk mentalism and more. We look forward to that episode. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It's martini time.